Do you eat pork?
No.
Do you eat shrimp, crab, lobster, catfish?
No, I'm allergic, actually.
All praise to the Most High. All right. Do you got a beard on your face under that thing?
A little one.
A little one. All right.
Yeah.
So these are commandments that you can do. You got a son, right?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Keanu.
Keanu and Keontae. All praises. So what's his mother's name?
Sade.
Sade. Okay. Are y'all married?
No.
No. Okay. So these things are against God.
Right.
You got to understand that that's breaking God's commandments. You are teaching your son that it's okay for his mother to be a whore.
Right.
Because the Bible say if you land with a woman that you're not married to, you're making her a whore.
Right. Right.
You're making her a slut.
Right.
You're making her a prostitute.
Right. Yeah.
Because you ain't married to her. You're not supporting her. You're not doing what you're supposed to do as a man of God.
Right.
Hebrews 13 and 4. I'm going to get out the Bible so you don't think I'm making it up.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4.
And Christianity teaches it's okay. It's all type of girlfriends and boyfriends in the Christian church. They don't call nobody out.
Bring it out.
You in there with your girlfriend, hugged up in church, holding hands, praying to white Jesus with a cross around your neck. Just a place of lies.
Right.
Come on.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4.
Yeah.
Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
So if you married to a woman if you have sex with a woman that's not your wife, you defiled, and you defiling that woman because you're prostituting her and you're teaching her to be a whore, and you showing your son the same thing, Keontae. You teaching Keanu that. You're supposed to teach him how to respect and love black women.
Right.
How to respect and love Hispanic women.
Right.
And that's by marrying them. It's not by just sleeping with them and sending them away when you're mad at them.
Right.
That ain't of God. You hate God and you hate your people when you do stuff like that.
Right.
Keontae, you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what must you do in order to make it into the kingdom of heaven?
Follow the commandments.
Follow the commandments. And one of those is to do what?
Marry my...
Marry your wife.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be married to her.
Right.
One of them is, what else? What's coming up on December 25th? Christmas. You got Keanu, a bunch of little gifts and stuff?
Yeah.
A little tree in the house?
Well, his mom do.
His mama do. Oh, now his mama do.
No, I was in prison, so we in 2 different states.
Okay. So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Is it okay to celebrate Christmas? Is that in the Bible?
No.
Let's see, come on.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 1.
Yeah.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen,
Yeah.
and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
So it say, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. What's December 25th? December 25th is actually known as winter solstice. It's actually the time when the sun is at the highest point of the sky.
Right.
This white Jesus, that cross around your neck, all went back to sun worship. That's what it all went back to. That's what you learn. You learn paganism. You learn idolatry. You learn sun worship. That's why you go to church on what day in the Christian church?
Sunday.
There you go, because they worshiping what? Damn, it's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple, bro. You can see it when I say it to you. All I got to do is say it, you get it. It's like we throwing alley-oops. It's that simple. Come on.
For the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain.
Yep.
For one cutteth a tree,
There you go. They cutting what?
for one cutteth a tree.
So the Negro, the Hispanic, is scared to tell his kids Christmas is of the devil.
Right.
You can't be afraid to tell your kids that. You can't be afraid to tell your mama that. You can't be afraid to tell your baby mama that. You got to be able to say Christmas is of the devil. Is it okay to buy your kids gifts? Of course. There's nothing wrong with that. But Christmas is a celebration of our oppression.
Right.
They used to give us as gifts.
Right.
That's what they celebrate when you celebrate Christmas. Us going into slavery, Keontae. Does that make sense?
Yeah, do it.
Come on.
I don't really think about
Out
it.
of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not.
So what's that called? A tree stand. Right? Go ahead.
They are upright as a palm tree, but speak not. They must needs to be poor, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of it.
So why would the Lord tell you to not be afraid of the tree in your house? Because again, it go back to that cross you had around your neck.
Yeah.
It go right back to that. It was a man, his name was Nimrod,
Yeah.
right? And this guy was tall, so they used to put trees in their house in order to worship this man. And how did you know that they was afraid of this man? How would you know that? What is the form of worship that you give to somebody when you're trying to honor them? I'll ask you this. When you got a tree in that house, where did the gifts go?
Under it.
Why? Because they was afraid of the tree. They was honoring the tree, which they believed was honoring Nimrod, which goes back to that same family line that led to Talmud. It's that same history, that same Egyptian and Babylonian and now American history that they just merged into what they taught your grandmother and my grandmother, which is Christianity, which is a lie, which doesn't help us, which is a waste of our time. We got to get back to keeping God's commandments. God has days that we can celebrate, that we can give gifts on. It's okay to give your son a gift. On the Sabbath, on the new moon, on the Day of Atonement, on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, on the Feast of Passover. You can give them gifts. There's nothing wrong with that. You can give them a gift on Monday if you want, but you shouldn't be giving them gifts to celebrate Christmas. That makes sense, Keontae? So in order to make it into the gates, you got to apply the commandments. The commandments are no eating unlawful foods, right? You said you already don't do that. It also means don't worship this image. Stop wearing a cross around your neck. Move away from idolatry. Also, don't celebrate Christmas. All of these things are against God's commandments. That makes sense what I'm saying? White Jesus and Christianity is against the commandments. You got to understand, the Bible is a real book. It was written by a group of, it was put together by a group of black men and Hispanic men that left us a history so we would know who we are before 1619. Because we were somewhere before 1619. We was in Israel. That's where we come from. We are the Israelites.
That's right.
Go to Deuteronomy 28:68. I want you to understand that you are an Israelite. Do that make sense that you're an Israelite? Do you believe that?
Nah, I do.
Why?
Because it all makes sense as I'm listening to it. You know, I was brought up this way, but not because somebody else was brought up that way.
Right.
You know, but to hear the truth always makes sense.
To hear the truth. That's what you're hearing right now. That's what this is called, the truth.
Right.
That's what you're hearing right now, the truth. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So how do we get to those countries like Puerto Rico?
Shit.
On ships. The Lord said that's what was going to happen to us.
Yeah.
Come on.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee.
So again, your history was written so you can look here and know I was somewhere before 1619. Why do they start at 1492 with the Hispanics when Hernan Cortez and them showed up? Why do they start there? We was somewhere before that, Keontae. We was in Israel. We was in Jerusalem. We were the kings and the generals of the Dark Ages. Right. That's who we were. That's why it's called the Dark Ages. Because black men like me and you ruled all of Europe, ruled the Byzantine Empire, ruled the Roman Empire. We ruled all of that. There was a man named Septimius Severus that came in and ruled that whole place. A black man. Right. Our forefathers. We come from something before 1619, before 1492. We are the kings of this earth, and we are currently in bondage. We're currently in slavery. We are currently kidnapped from our homeland because of what this called as an actual act of war. It was an act of war putting us on slave ships. Right. That's what it was. Right. It wasn't love. It wasn't appreciation. They didn't say, come over here and build my country with me. They said, nigga, get in this boat and I'm going to force you to build this country. That was an act of war against our people. We're actually war hostages, war criminals. War prisoners. That's who we are. We're not just, I don't know, African Americans, Puerto Ricans. That's not who we are. We're actually war prisoners. That's what we're going through. Go to that.
Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemy.
Now, when we got off those ships, were we sold to our best friends?
No.
We were sold to our enemies. We were sold to people that did things to us, like shoot giant bullets at us, like feed us to alligators, right? Like force food down our throat when we didn't want to eat, because we'd rather die than be in that oppression. Make us breeders. And we continue in that same cycle today. The same way they force us to just sleep with all type of women in slavery, we continue to perpetuate that.
Right.
You know that Abraham Lincoln and them, they said if we let the slaves go at the right time, they'll just be self-regenerating slaves. Because the chain been around our neck so long, we don't have nothing to do but follow slavery. We go to the prison systems in and out like you said you've been through. Why? Because the system was designed for us to fail, Keate. And we're trying to show you the way out of the system is by keeping God's commandments. Come on.
For God, men and women, and no man shall buy you.
So when we got off those ships, like you said, we were sold. We were sold to a nation that hates us. Is that our history, or is that the Chinese man history? That's the Israelite history.
We used to scream black power while Haran was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.